Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Tonight I'm going to be making 2-ingredient dough pizzas and 2 varieties. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the 2-ingredient dough and show you how to make the pizza dough. So if you don't know anything about it, just hashtag 2-ingredient dough on connect on Weight Watchers or Instagram and you'll find many recipes and ideas. Some of the things I like to make are pizzas, of course, and also calzones with chicken, Italian sausage, and some fat-free mozzarella and spinach and black olives. Or I make dinner rolls. I make a jalapeno cheddar roll using fat-free cheddar cheese and jalapenos. I also make a savory dinner knot using garlic and Parmesan cheese. I've made bagels using Trader Joe's everything but the bagel seasoning. Also cinnamon bagels using the sucre and brown sugar with cinnamon. Speaking of that, I make a great cinnamon roll using the sucre and brown sugar alternative with cinnamon. It's so good and only 1 smart point. So you can see the dough is versatile. If you're making a sweet roll, you might want to add a little truvia in like I do. If you're making something savory, add in some herbs. But for tonight, I'm using the basic dough recipe, which is only 2 ingredients. All you'll need is non-fat Greek yogurt and self-rising flour, equal parts of each. So let me show you what I'm going to make tonight and how to do it. I wanted to show you the pizzas I'm going to be making, and the first one is your traditional Italian sausage mushroom pizza. So, of course, the base is the 2-ingredient dough, and then I'm using the Skinny-ish Dish 0 Smart Point marinara sauce, as we Italians call it, gravy. So she used to be known as the Daily Dose of Pepper. If you haven't found this marinara sauce, you've got to make it. It is the bomb. And then I'm going to use Amy Lou's Italian chicken sausage with pepper and onions. And this sausage is only 2 smart points per link, so I'm going to use 2 links for my pizza. And then a can of sliced mushrooms, 0 points, and also some fat-free mozzarella, which a half a cup is only 1 smart point. So using these low point ingredients and splitting this with my husband, I'll eat half that pizza and he'll eat half. It will be low in points. The next pizza I'm making is a Greek pizza. So I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on my 2-ingredient dough, and then I'm going to put on spinach, grape tomatoes, and some Kalamata olives that I halved. I also measured them on my Weight Watcher scale, the olives, to make sure I just had 2 ounces. And then also I'm going to be using the fat-free feta cheese, and that's very low in points as well. So this will be another low pizza. I'll eat half of it, and I'll let you know the points at the end of the video. For the dough, I'm using self-rising flour, and I use gold medal, which is 5 smart points per half cup. And then I also use my favorite yogurt, and I never know how to pronounce it, so I'll let you say it. There it is. I use this yogurt for all things. I make yogurt parfaits all the time, and this is the best, creamiest, and best tasting, in my opinion, yogurt. So I'm gonna do equal parts of these. I'm going to do 1 cup of each because I'm making 2 pizzas, and each pizza will be 5 smart points for the whole crust because I roll it out very thin. So let me get the ingredients in the bowl and I'll show you what to do. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm putting the dry ingredient in, a cup of self-rising flour. I do this first because I'm using the same measuring cup for the yogurt, and I don't want the flour to stick to the yogurt. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and then measure a cup of yogurt, and that also will go into the bowl. So I try to get it as exact as possible because I used to bake cupcakes. I was a cupcake baker, and baking is a science. It's exact measurements. So here's a cup of the non-fat Greek yogurt that I'm gonna go ahead and put in the bowl. Now, I usually use my bread dough hooks, but since a lot of you probably don't have that, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how simple it is to just make it with a spoon. So the dough came together, mixing it in the bowl, and you're gonna have to get your hands dirty because you have to knead this to really get it smooth and to form a dough ball. So what I do is I turn it out on a floured surface. And my husband bought me this great, huge silicone mat for baking. It's actually for pastry making, and I absolutely love it. So what you're gonna do is you put a little self-rising flour on your surface where you're going to knead, and you just start kneading the dough. Make sure your hands also have flour, and see how it's getting to be smooth. That's what you want. So you're going to knead it about 20 times. Okay, my dough has come together nicely. And look at how beautiful this is. So this is going to make 2 pizzas. So what I do is I'm going to cut it in half, not to cut my pad underneath, and put one to the side while I work on the other. So this is going to become my pizza dough. So I already have some pans. I have 2 cookie sheets with some silicone mats in there. I used to make round pizzas, but I found these silicone mats are much easier to make the pizza. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll out my dough and get those in the oven. I'm gonna pre-bake them at 375 for about 10 minutes. So again, you're going to take your dough. Now, if you only wanna make 1 pizza, just use a half a cup. Or you can do what I do and then freeze this or put it in the fridge for another day. You can make a calzone, you can make a breakfast pizza for the next morning. So all I do is I throw on the flour and I start working the dough. And I try to get it into a rectangle shape since I'm using a cookie sheet. It takes a little work, so be patient. It will be worth it in the end, I promise. Okay, now the pizza dough is a little irregular. Don't worry about that. What I'm gonna do is fold it in half because it's very thin. I don't know if you can see how thin this is. So I like to roll it thin because I like to eat half a pizza. So I'm gonna fold it in half and put it on my cookie sheet, on my silicone mat, and then I am going to unfold it. And there you go. There's 1 pizza crust done. So I'm going to work on the second one. And there's my dough that's reserved. Put a little flour on my mat. If you do this on your counter, get one of these mats. This was unbelievable. Like the best present my husband got me. I just love it because it saves my counter and it's such an easy peasy cleanup. Now you see the dough is gonna start sticking, so make sure you keep on flouring your hands, the board, your rolling pin, so the dough doesn't stick. And you're just gonna work at this one like you did the other. Or I'm gonna work at it, I should say. Unless you're gonna be doing this with me, then you'll be doing the same thing. So I'm gonna use a little more flour. Okay. My second dough or crust is ready. It's sticking a little and I think I just ripped it. But those things happen. So when you unfold it, you just, oops, just ripped it now. You're just going to have to play with the dough and you can fold it if you have a hole and then just press it out. I'm gonna pop these in a 375-degree oven for 10 minutes and then I'll show you how to assemble them. So my crusts came out of the oven. I pre-baked them for about 10 to 12 minutes at 375. My first crust, I'm making the Greek style pizza, so I sprayed it with some olive oil cooking spray, and then I'm using some Greek seasoning on top of that, and I love these little containers I got at Menards. I put all my seasoning in it with labels. So that's the base for the Greek pizza. Cooking spray and some seasoning. If you don't have Greek seasoning, you can use oregano. And then I'm just going to start putting on the spinach goes next, and that will go on the pizza. And I try to take off the stems. This is pre-washed spinach, and I just liberally put it on the pizza all over. Okay, the crust looks pretty good. It's covered with the spinach, and now I have some chopped tomatoes that I'm just putting right on top. Again, be generous because both the spinach, oops, And the tomatoes are 0 points, so pile those veggies on. Green leafy vegetables are so good for you. And then the last thing I'm going to be putting on, or the next I should say, not the last, is the Kalamata olives. Now I measured these out on my Weight Watcher scale because I only wanted to use so much for points. I'm trying to keep my points low. Look at how good that looks already. Can't wait to eat this. And remember, I'm eating half of this pizza and half of the other one. So I just kind of give it an eyeball and make sure everything is pretty much distributed equally. Since I'm cutting it in half, I want to make sure I get as many olives as my husband, even Steven, as much as I can. Okay, and then I measured out a cup of feta. So a half a cup of feta will be 1 smart point. So my half will only have a half a cup. This is fat-free, so it probably is not going to melt, but that's okay. It looks good. It looks like a Greek salad on top of a pizza crust. How great is that? There we go. Look at that. Oh, I can't wait till it bakes and show you the finished product. So here is my Greek pizza. Okay, then I'm gonna go on to my Italian sausage pizza. Okay, crust number 2. I'm using, again, the Skinny-ish Dish 0 Crock-Pot Marinara. It's 0 smart points. There's a lot here. It makes a lot, so tomorrow I think I'm gonna make the cauliflower gnocchi with the rest of this. And I just smear it on the crust before placing on the rest of the ingredients. So this is my base. And I don't want it too wet because the crust is very thin. Okay, so the next thing I put on is the Italian sausage. So again, this is Amy Lou chicken Italian sausage, and it's 2 smart points per link. And don't forget, everything will be halved because I'm having half of this with my husband. So I'm just evenly distributing these again because I'm cutting it in half and I want to make sure I get half or 1 link. Okay. And then I'm going to put on the mushrooms, which I've drained. I just used canned mushrooms because I didn't have fresh, but of course you can. Do you hear my dog playing with the squeaky? This is real live video. So I forgot what I was saying. Oh, you could use fresh. It's much better probably to use fresh than canned, but as I was saying, I don't have any, so I always keep some canned for recipes for mushrooms in a pinch. Okay, and that goes on. And then the last ingredient will be a cup of fat-free mozzarella cheese. And that also will get evenly distributed to make sure half is on mine and half is on the other side, which will be for my husband. Okay, this is my Italian sausage mushroom pizza with mozzarella. Look at how gorgeous that looks. And this is my Greek pizza with spinach, grape tomatoes, Kalamata olives, and fat-free feta cheese. I'm gonna pop these into the oven and I'll show you what they look like on the flip side. While the pizzas are cooking, I thought I'd let you know the smart points for my portion tonight. So if you remember, I started with a cup of self-rising flour and a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt to make 2 crusts. So half of that is 5 smart points. A half a cup of the self-rising flour is where the points come in. So that's what I'm starting with. And then we're gonna count the toppings. For the Greek pizza, I used olive oil cooking spray on the crust, that's 0. Then I put on spinach, that's 0. grape tomatoes, that's 0. And then my portion of the Kalamata olives are 1 ounce for 3 Smart Points. So that is 3 Smart Points for the Greek pizza topping. For the Italian sausage and mushroom pizza, I use the 0 point crock-pot marinara from Skinny-ish Dish, so that's 0. Then on top of that, I put the Amy Lou chicken Italian sausage. 1 link is 2 Smart Points. And then I did the mushrooms, which are 0, and 1/2 cup of the fat-free mozzarella cheese, which will be 1 Smart Point. So again, the toppings for that pizza will be 3 Smart Points for my portion. So let's count it up. 3 and 3 for each pizza for the toppings, that's 6, and 5 for half of the dough, that's 11 points in essence for 1 whole pizza. That's pretty darn good, and I'm gonna enjoy every bite. I hear the timer. That means the pizzas are done. Let's go check them out. So I just got the pizzas out of the oven, and look at how great these are. First, the Italian sausage pizza. Look at the crust. It's thin, and look at how crispy the ends got, just like I love it. And then, as predicted, the fat-free feta did not melt, but again, a crispy, thin crust. So I'm gonna enjoy a half of each of these pizzas for 11 Smart Points for my dinner tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you use that 2-ingredient pizza dough. Remember, hashtag it, check Instagram or connect. You're gonna have so many recipes and ideas out there for this dough. So I'm gonna go and eat my pizza. Remember to do something kind for another person every day. I'll see you again. Ciao.